waves ignite for the chosen few. He's got the voice, the spirit, and the fire. Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, taking us higher. He built a palace of cryptids in this lonely space. True Cryptid Encounters, volumes 1 and 2. Coming from the darkness, tell your own tale. He's starting the job out past the setting sun. He's Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, until the work is done. It's a Bigfoot pirate rock and roll show. On the airwaves, watch the legend grow. Come join the beyond and hear the wild scream. Yeah! Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. Time to open up your mind. Get ready to rock and roll. Yeah.
There I am. What's happening, everybody? You know, it's late night. It's Into the Bizarre. Thanks to each and every single one of you for coming on in every Saturday night at 11 o'clock in the East, wherever you're at. Thank you so much for coming on in. Don't forget to hit that like button. Leave a comment after the show. It's always a great show. It's a growing show, very popular show. I got to thank everybody because I've noticed the last 3 weeks, we've had 100 people in the chat room. We have. That's awesome. So thank you for that. Whether in the chat room or you're a subscriber and just watch it and don't participate in chat, watch the replay. You guys rock and roll. Y'all do, regardless of your situation and how you view the shows. And I only say this every once in a while. I am a little excited. I just need 2 more subscribers to turn 6,600. Yeah, I can see 7,000 in a few, maybe by summer. Hey, I don't know. Let's go for it. So thank you for that. Hit the like button. Always a great show. Don't forget the Super Cat. I don't know how that evolved. The Super Cat is open. A great way to help support what we all do around here. Thank you in advance for that. Appreciate y'all. You can also become BMR Pirates. Join the many, join the few, depending on your point of view. With that being said, thanks to one and all. I'm going to bring up my lovelies here tonight. No particular order. I see Monica is doing something there. I'm going to pull up Brandi, who's staring into the camera.
I'm just staring. I'm watching you.
Well, thank you for watching me. Oh, I like the artwork. Put your forearm up again. There you go.
There you go.
That is the 4 blondes. What is that?
It says I'm here for the booze.
Oh my Lord. That is awesome, Brandi. I did not see that. Very cool. Very cool. So good to see you once again.
Yeah, I mean it was fun, and you know, there's many more in my future, so we'll just see what I come up with. Me
too. I got my Lonely Detroit Tiger tattoo, but I've got so many different ideas. But I'm gonna put something on that's meaningful that I know that, hey, you know what I mean? I'm thinking about going with a logo or something. I don't know yet. I just don't know.
Put your logo on there.
Yeah, I know. I'm working on a couple renditions of it.
Yeah, I got me. It's right here.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. I can't tell. Is that all black?
It's all black. Yes.
Okay, very nice. It looks brand new too. I can see it shine from here.
Well, I put lotion on it too because you know, it hasn't been even a month yet, so it's still going through its healing phases and stuff. So I gotta keep it moisturized.
You keep it moisturized. Yeah, you put that 2 glue on it, that cat glue, 2 glue, or whatever they call it.
No, I
Okay,
just
well,
use
just
regular
that's fine. It's
moisturizer.
all the same thing. It's just marketing. Speaking of marketing, the one always promotes my package, my book package, that is. It's the lovely
Yep.
Monica.
I think that, Rob, you should get Super Chat is now open.
Yeah,
Super
you
Cat.
know,
Right there. No regrets.
No regrets with
right
the Super
here.
Cat. No
Then I really,
regrets with the
then I,
Super Cat.
yeah, then I'd have to really wear a low cut shirt in the summer, you know. and super-
Well, you
you know,
do wear tank tops sometimes,
I
Doug
do wear
does.
tank tops, and yeah, in the summer I do. I must admit that. You know, that's the way I roll in Michigan. It's funny, Monica. Speaking of Michigan, it's so funny. Our show last Thursday, I was all excited when I was talking to you because it was 50 degrees, the snow melted. I said, Monica, yeah, the ground is soggy, you know, and I got that spring vibe going.
Yeah. The spring
That's
fever.
all. That's all for
August
not
are hit.
because we're getting
Yeah.
bombarded with snow right now.
Yeah, they
So,
got a like
there
a
goes that.
nor'easter.
There goes that idea.
That's unfortunate.
But it's
I was in my
February.
garden today.
You were in your garden today? Oh, good for you.
Yeah, well, it's like 35 degrees tonight, like 32 degrees. So
Oh,
I
really?
had some cold tolerant plants, but I put them in one of my existing containers, raised beds, and I had to put frost cloth over them.
Oh
Yeah.
no. Just when you thought you were safe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I knew that we're not past our last frost date. So I knew it was a gamble.
Oh,
It was a
yeah.
gamble.
Oh no.
But the weather down here is so deceiving because it's been in the 70s all week.
Oh, it's very deceiving.
And then today I couldn't get warm. I mean, for Texas, Rob. I mean,
I know. Hey,
I
listen,
don't live somewhere where you expect that. You live somewhere where you expect that.
I do expect it. Now, I knew I was getting snow. Hell, it snows here sometimes in April.
Oof.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember shoveling snow in April, and literally, when I say shoveling snow, it was like 4 inches in April.
Oof.
It was right before one of the years when Easter fell in April,
Mhm.
and I'm shoveling snow. I'm like, you got it? Really? Now it was powdery, but a lot of it though got heavy because April. It was that mixture. It had a lot of the condensation, a lot of moisture,
Oh,
so
it
it
was
was
wet
kind of
snow?
heavy.
Mm.
Yeah, so that always sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I said, Rob, here comes the snow, and I'll be shoveling tomorrow morning, I'm sure.
Well, speaking of, I just heard my heat kick on.
Woo.
Woo! There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Well, it's probably chilly where you live, Brandy, a little bit.
Yeah, it's showing 38 degrees.
Oh, yeah. Well, right here, I can look at my thing. I'm at 31 and snow. That's what it says on my little radar. I have the little radar blip, and I love watching the radar because the weatherman is never accurate. It's the greatest job in the world, make $100K a year or more, and it's the only job in the world where if you're wrong, you don't get fired.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
That's such a great job.
This must be a great job, right? But then everybody just thinks you're a liar.
Yeah.
That's got to suck.
Or if you see the weatherman at the local grocery store, because you know it's the local weather people. Hey, you were lying to me. You screwed up my golf reservations, man. You said it wasn't supposed to rain and it poured.
Right.
I remember I used to watch Larry David. I forgot the name of the show years ago. Funny guy. He would always bitch about the weatherman. He said the weatherman purposely kept him off the golf course.
Personally. Yeah.
Personally, yeah, it was a funny show.
It was personal.
It was personal.
Speaking of watching, did you see my Monster Quest that aired last night?
I missed it last night because I was not available. I had it marked. I missed it. I'm not gonna lie to you, Monica. You know, I missed it.
That's okay.
Watch the replay. So what'd you think? Did you look okay? I know you were wondering about that.
I didn't look okay. They had me side lit and down lit, and every wrinkle, every like turkey neck possible. I mean, so bad. Plus, as you know, I had just rolled off the flight in when they started.
Oh yeah.
So my hair's like fried at the end, and
Well, you rolled off the plane, got to the hotel, and within like under an hour, you were filming.
Yeah.
For 4 hours or 3 hours.
3.5. Yeah. It was a while.
Yeah. And you were parched.
Whatever.
How many bottles of water you end up drinking?
2.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't start drinking water until my voice started getting hoarse and going.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, they chopped up my story. They left a lot out.
Oh no, really?
I mean, they cut it to make it sound dramatic.
Oh, I see.
Like it was too long, I guess, for
the segment.
they needed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they just chopped it up into like highlights. And they left a ton out, but it was, I mean, my husband liked it, but he has no choice but to like it.
You get the automatic thumbs up.
Yeah. He was like, no, I thought it was great. And I was like, would you tell me if it wasn't? And he was like, sure, I would. And I was like,
Sure, you would. No, he would have said, well, I mean, they could have
said something nice, but he'd been like, well, that was interesting. I mean,
right. Well, that'd have been something.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think he would have said, well, Monica, that was something, hon. That, I mean,
I guess. So anyway, yeah, for better or for worse, it's out there. I started getting messenger messages from people on Facebook. I didn't know. I just saw you on. That was interesting. Those were interesting conversations.
Oh, you're like, well, I couldn't tell you.
Because they're people from, back in the day.
Right.
Oh.
But at least, I mean, it's kind of nostalgic in a way to be back on Monster Quest, that whole.
Yeah. But it was cool. I wish I had known it was going to be Monster Quest, because when we were doing the interviews and I asked them what show it was, they wouldn't tell me.
No, they didn't say.
Yeah. I didn't know until I saw Monster Quest and I was like, oh, okay. That's what it is.
You're just a reoccurring person on Monster Quest now.
Right. I pop up every 20 years. What's
That's
up?
right.
Oh, God, I got stories for you.
I got stories. Anyway, Rob, what's up with you? What have you been doing besides, I don't know,
not
battling the snow?
Yeah, no, not much. Doing the same old. To be honest, during the winter, Brandi, I don't do a whole heck of a lot of anything, really. Nothing new, nothing exciting. Yeah, really, kind of caught me off guard with that question. No, just kind of the boring, mundane, doing the shows, this, that, and the other. Really, I mean, that's it. SNX Radio, the Super Cats Open. I've been doing some collabs with SNX Radio and Coley. I've been doing that. Go check out SNX Radio. She does a great job on her channel. We've done a few things. So go, Coley, drop your link. She's awesome. And I also saw a guy in chat, Carl. I did a show Tuesday. Carl Sup. Check out that show. Check out the replay. Coley got me him the other night when I had a cancellation, and that guy is fantastic. Did a great show with Krista on Tuesday night. Carl Sup, check him out. That was a great show. So thanks to that. Also, if you're new here, of course, subscribe to BMR. 2 more subscribers at 6,600. Monica Rollins, Our Paranormal World. Monica does Monica's thing. We get it, but I always promote Monica, right?
Thank you for promoting me, even though I'm like, I'll do it when I feel like it.
I know you do when you do it. And of course, the Blondes and the Boos, also subscribe to them on YouTube. And once again, the Super Cats Open. You can become BMR Pirates. And I got something from a longtime subscriber. I don't know if you're still listening, Scott. You have to leave the show after 24 months as a pirate. That's kind of, I'd like you to send me an email, buddy. I hope it's not something I did or we've done on the channel. That's, 24 months to make that post. I'm a little, it's sad. It's sad for me to hear that, Scott. Give me an email, bmrandbeyond.com. Or whatever it is at gmail.com. So sorry about that, Scott.
Whatever it is.
You
gotta get the right email out there so you can get
my email is the first thing. It's right here. It's pulling up right now. That's it right there. Sorry, Scott, to hear that, man. I want to know the reasoning. I really do.
I hope everything's okay with Scott.
Yeah,
I really do, Scott. 22 years is a long time to be a pirate. It really is. And Scott started with me a long time ago. Hopefully everything's okay, Scott. So yeah, that's really it with me. Yeah. So tonight's bizarre news, girls, and everybody listening. We always do 5 a night. Now, these couple of these are a little bit longer than usual, but I was always trying to find some different themes. It's all bizarre, don't get me wrong. So we'll see how this plays out tonight, and we can do what we can do. Thank you once again. Subscribe to the ladies, subscribe to BMR, subscribe to Coley on SNX, and we're going to do this thing that we call the bizarre news. Da da da. That doesn't get old, does it?
Da 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 da.
I like that. So everybody, kick back, relax. Hope you got your favorite beverage or whatever it is on Saturday night. And we're going to start off our first one. This is interesting, Brandi, because this takes place in Missouri.
Oh, okay.
In fact, this took place in the summer of 2025 near, Hermann, Hermann. Okay. Authorities and local historians are attempting to explain what 3 experienced kayakers describe as a 2-hour hole in reality along a quiet stretch of the Missouri River that is associated with 19th century drownings. The incident occurred in late June of 2025 during what was expected to be a routine afternoon float just west of Hermann, Missouri, a picturesque town known for its wineries, German heritage, and the broad, deceptively calm river that cuts past its bluffs. Instead, the trio say they drifted straight into something they cannot explain. The sun jumped. Elise Rourke, 34, of Columbia, Missouri, has kayaked the Missouri River for nearly a decade. She and her 2 longtime friends, Grant Holloway, 39, and Marissa Bell, 32, launched at approximately 3:15 p.m. under clear skies and mild current. We checked the time before pushing off, Rourke told our reporters. It was a perfect late afternoon, sun high. The sun was high enough, plenty of light was left. The group floated a historically quiet bend of river about 5 miles east of town, an area once documented in the 1800s river logs as the site of multiple drownings during steamboat commerce. At approximately what Rourke believed was 5:10 p.m., something changed. The sun jumped, she said. 1 second it was late afternoon, golden, bright, and the next it was dusk. Not gradually, it was like someone dimmed the world. Grant Holloway described a similar sensation. I remember looking down at my paddle blade, he said. The water looked darker. I thought a storm rolled in, but there was no clouds. Then Elise asked what time it was. Holloway checked his waterproof wristwatch. It said 7:17 p.m. I laughed at first, he says. I thought it malfunctioned, but Marissa checked her phone in a dry bag and it said the same time. 2 hours unaccounted for. No physical evidence, no river anomaly. The kayakers insist they did not stop paddling. They report no naps, no alcohol consumption, no sudden weather shifts, and no head injuries. Marissa Bell, who works as an occupational therapist, described a subtle physical after effect. I felt disoriented, Bell said, not dizzy, just displaced, like when you wake up from a deep sleep and don't know what day it is. River data does not support any natural explanation. Officials from the National Weather Service office in St. Louis confirmed there were no storms, solar events, or recorded atmospheric anomalies that afternoon. There was no barometric spikes, no temperature drops, no cloud changes significant enough to create a sudden lightning illusion, said meteorologist Daniel Krebs. River gauges showed no abnormal flow changes. Conditions were stable. The U.S. Geological Survey monitoring stations along that section of the Missouri River recorded typical late June flow patterns, no surges, again, no turbulence, no debris or any debris impact. Sheriff's deputies from Gasconade County took an informational report but classified the incident as non-criminal and unexplained. We have no evidence of foul play or environmental hazard, said Deputy Alan Metcalf, but it's not every day someone reports losing 2 hours in broad daylight. Really quickly, girl, and everybody, why would there be suspected criminal activity here? I don't get that. We'll talk about it. A river with a history, it goes on. Local historian Margaret Hine points out that this particular stretch of river is not without reputation. In the mid-1800s, when Herman was a booming German settlement, there were repeated drownings in that bend. Hine explained steamboat deckhands, immigrants, even children. Some bodies were never recovered. She added quietly, river communities often spoke of the time slips in folklore. Fishermen returning home after a long sunset swearing that they'd only been gone minutes. Is it coincidence or something older? The theories are time compression. Basically, really quickly here, Dr. Aaron Velasquez, a theoretical physicist at the University of Missouri, stresses there's no verified scientific precedent for localized time compression. He did note that human perception at that time can distort under stress or neurological events. River spirits, another theory. Folklorist Diane Kruger suggests the explanation may lie in cultural memory rather than physics. German river lore includes water spirits, nixies, and undenies entities that lure or confuse travelers. And of course, number 3 here, localized dimensional overlap. Perhaps the most unsettling theory comes from independent anomalous researcher John Dunning, who has documented reports of missing time clusters near waterways across the Midwest. Running water may act as a boundary condition, Dunning claims. To certain electromagnetic environments, there could be a brief overlaps between parallel states of reality. While mainstream scientists dismiss such claims, Dunning notes similarities to other reports involving forests, caves, and rivers. 2 hours is not significant, he said. That's not a skipped heartbeat. That's a displacement. And again, finally, the 3 kayakers insist nothing else unusual occurred, no missing equipment or physical marks. I paddled that river for years, Holloway said. I don't scare easy, but I won't float that bend again. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what is interesting is something that maybe you didn't even realize, Rob. The Herman is about 30-something miles from Marthasville, which is Emmaus Village, which you've been to.
Yeah.
Okay. So taking those back roads that we did, we skirted right into Herman and through it.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we skirted right through it. So does it surprise me that things like that are happening in that area? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There was Civil War skirmishes all over, in that area. And there's just a lot of history that, a lot of people don't know about. We found out about the history when we went to Emmaus. I had no idea what was going on. So with that being said, it doesn't surprise me like things like that are happening in that area. It's very close to it. And, we always talk about Emmaus being that trifecta spot. We talk about being able to see, UFOs and you've got some cryptid activity. The paranormal activity is crazy in that area. So does it surprise me? No, but it sounds like more of a reoccurring portal type thing that's happening right there. Now that could have been caused by a million different reasons that we'll never know. But could it be possible in that area? Yeah, I believe it. I believe stuff like that could happen.
after I being at Emmaus Village, and I remember driving with you through all those back roads. Remember when I told you that all of a sudden it looked natural? I mean, the forest, we were driving through like a one-way road or two-way road, and other side of the forest looked pretty much normal. Do you remember though
Yeah.
how the bends and all of a sudden the forest looked creepier than usual? And then all of
Yes.
a sudden the houses went from cool looking houses to like,
Yeah.
you know,
Uh,
just different. It's wild.
Yeah, it's almost like they were abandoned, like a whole
Yeah.
stretch, of
Yeah. It was
miles would
like it
be
was
abandoned.
like it was a ghost town.
Yeah,
Kind
that's the area that you are talking about right there.
Wow. So we probably passed. So we did pass over that
Yeah,
that river stretch
we skirted alongside of it.
alongside of
We
it. Yeah.
didn't,
Yes.
yeah, we
We
didn't
didn't go
go
over the water.
across it, but we did skirt alongside of it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely
Mm.
did. So I'm like,
Boy,
okay.
well, I would tell you what, I've been there. Yeah, that's creepy. That's haunted. That's 1,000% accurate because we've all been there. I've been there now, and it's like, yeah,
Yeah, that whole
yeah,
area. And then when you were talking about it having German descent, and stuff like that. Well, Dutzo is right outside of Marthasville, and that is all of German descent. The Emmaus Village was built for German students to begin with. So, I mean, you have all of these things that are just, checking the boxes of everything that you have already experienced in the area. So, I mean, this is just one more thing.
I believe it. I really now that I read that report, I go, oh yeah, definitely happened because that was creepy as hell over there.
Because we definitely had the conversation about, wow, it just went from very nice and lively, like you could see wildlife hanging out, to nothing. It was just
Yeah,
like the woods didn't even seem that alive.
no,
And this is during the day.
it was during the day. I was during
No.
the day, but the thing about driving where we were driving, it was daytime, yet it was like dusky. It felt like it was night. We could still see, right? Remember? But
Yeah.
it was just,
Yeah.
it was ominous. It went from okay to ominous really quickly.
It did. So, I mean, could something like that happen around that area? With everything that I have seen and heard, yes, yes. Again, we're learning that these stories are embellished quite a bit,
Sure.
but the basics, part of the story about time loss, things like that, yeah, I can believe that could happen. Sure.
I believe so. And Monica, sitting quietly, you have a quick take yourself?
Well, it sounds like it's absolutely possible. I didn't go through the area with you guys, and I would expect Brandi to know most about it since she lives in Missouri. I'm sure, I mean, with knowing that Emmaus is there, then yeah.
Yeah, you're just talking like a little over 30 miles from Herman to Marthasville. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you describing just a drive through the area.
Mhm.
I mean, it seems like, just listening to the encounter, it seems more likely a portal happened than any, spirits manipulating somebody, or it seems more like a portal in my opinion. But
That's exactly what I thought.
I
was thinking,
don't know.
Yeah, the portal thing, the 2 hours is quite significant.
Yeah.
I disagree with what the reporter or the report said about, or the one doctor, scientist, whatever he was, I forget already. 2 hours is not significant. Hey, 2 hours time loss to me is
2 hours
significant.
is significant.
10 minutes to me is significant in my life.
I mean, if you can't account for anything, we're not talking about like going on autopilot like you do when you're driving
We do that.
the same route every day, and suddenly you've gone 10 miles and you don't know how that happened.
Oh, we've all done that. I
Yeah,
remember back in
everybody's
the
done
day
that.
driving to work.
But if you're
Or
floating a river, relaxing and with friends, or just spending, you're engaging with people while it's happening, so you're not zoning out while it's
Right.
going
Yeah.
on.
And we've all talked about this ad nauseum, as I like to say. Driving somewhere that the pattern, like going to work as an example, 45-minute ride I had many years ago. Before I know it, I'm at work, and I just thought like, wow, it seems like it was 5 minutes. You just zone out.
Yeah.
Especially when I went to work, it was 5 a.m. It's going on the road. I'm like, whoa.
I had an hour drive to and from Dallas, and coming home, especially because you're tired at the end of the day. Right. And I'm sure it was the same for you, Rob, with your 45-minute drive. There's a point where you're like, I'm way closer to home than I thought I would. I don't know what happened for the last 20 miles.
Right. Or like you stop zoning out and you're like, where am I?
Yeah.
Nothing looks familiar. You're like, am I? And then you're like, oh yeah, okay, I didn't pass it or something. You just like wake up out of this little trance thing you're in, and then bam, it's like, okay, I'm good to go now.
Yeah, but I don't think that took place there for sure.
No, and I'm not going to tell this story, but Brandi, I know you know this story. Monica, you might, but when it talks about these time slips, particularly along in the Midwest. And I don't know, because remember, I had that time loss incident in the Midwest on the water, on the river, where I lost like 4 hours. All 3 of us lost 4 hours and did not know where the hell we were.
Yeah, that's difficult because, I mean, you're in your instance, you were out on a boat, so you would be able to, I mean, really tell by where the moon's at in the sky. You can tell what time it is, really.
Absolutely. You don't have to have a wristwatch or a compass. You can look and I can tell what time it is by looking at the sun in the summer and the moon a lot of times at night. Not so much the moon as much as the sun, though.
Right.
I can look at the sun and say it's 3:00. It's noon. It's 6. I'm pretty accurate within an hour. I think all of us are.
You do the hand thing?
Yeah, I've done that before. Yeah.
I do that more when the sun's going down. So I'm like,
when it's going, yeah.
But yeah, I don't, like I said, I think we're dealing with here more of a portal, and that could be from just about anything. I wouldn't pin it to, I mean, you're talking about running water on top of all of it. So, I mean, I wouldn't pin it to just strictly something tragic or something that had happened there. It could be just.
Yeah, I mean, they've thrown that in there from the 1800s. Okay, if that happened, fine. But they just added to that, I think. But I think when you mention water, portals, loss within the time, you guys know it goes hand in hand with a lot of these accounts. It does. But man, thank you, Randy. I didn't know. I had no idea. I wasn't thinking of Emmaus Village, but now and you told me, like, this makes this story really more kind of bizarre.
Yeah, it hits different.
It's all a little bit. It does hit a lot different. Yeah. I said, yeah, we'll do this one. Oh no, I went through there.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure did. So now it's like, oh, hey, okay. Yeah, so like I said, it's like the stories do hit different especially when you've been through there.
Absolutely, it does. Absolutely. So that's awesome. Thanks to everybody for coming on in. If I did not say hi, because I'm not really paying attention too much to the chat, hit that like button. Super chats are open, mateys. The super cat is open. Become pirates. Blah blah blah.
Super cat.
Super cat. Super cat.
Super cat.
Yes, and my hat does say what you think it says.
Yes, it does, Brando.
It says got knockers.
Got knockers, Brando.
Yeah, with it's my little Bigfoot. He's on this side.
And of course, it's a Bigfoot saying, everybody.
Yes.
Surprise. Yes, indeed. Very nice. Thanks to everybody.
But you never know on this show.
You never know. Late night into the bizarre.
You do never know. But I mean, this is of course one of my comfortable hats. So.
Yes, it looks very cozy. It looks very cozy.
I gotta fix it here in just a second. The clip is bothering me a little bit, so I'm gonna fix it here as soon as you start telling the next story.
All right. Well, I'm gonna start right now, Brandi. Take care of that. This is number 2. This is summer of 2025 in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Well, I know where that is.
Well, we'll see. I don't know. Could it be the Manistee National Forest? I don't know. I forgot already. I only read it once. Hunter claims not a deer watched him bleed.
Okay.
Blood droplets vanished overnight as investigators weigh disturbing possibilities. In the deep cedar swamps of Michigan's Upper Peninsula, where fog clings low and the tree line swallows sound. I gotta love some of these guys. A veteran hunter says he encountered something that studied him, something that tried to move like a deer, but didn't quite understand how. It wasn't a deer, said 41-year-old Jonas Ryak of Marquette County. I do know where that is. Yes, I do. It was learning. I could see it learning.
Hmm.
Indeed, Monica.
I mean,
yeah.
Well, watching the gears turn in a deer has got to be.
He was learning. He can see it learning, Monica. That's what he states. Jonas Riek of Marquette. Yes, he does. The encounter reportedly occurred in late November of 2025, just after the first significant snowfall of the season, roughly 6:10 p.m. local time. Riek had been field dressing a buck near a logging trail off of County Road 550. I'm familiar, when he accidentally sliced into his left palm.
Oh,
ouch.
Ow.
Yeah, that's not good. I wrapped it up with my bandana. Oh my, wow, I don't remember that. Was it a BMR bandana? I don't know.
Get the real pirate image. Get that blood on the bandana.
Yeah, well, the BMR bandanas reminds me they will be they're in the works, everybody. They're in the works. They have Mary Lynn so busy. She's working on them. And Sir Brian's got something he's supposed to send me as I see him in the chat, not to put you on the spot, Brian.
Not to put
love
you,
you,
spot,
love
but,
you, Sir Brian. Go check out Sir Brian at Sir Brian Bowden. Yes, indeed. But I know I drip blood in the snow. I could see the drops, bright red against white. That's when he noticed movement behind a cluster of young birch trees about 40 yards away. At first I thought it was another deer drawn by the scent, Ryak said, but it was too tall. And the way it stepped, it was like someone who'd only ever seen a deer in pictures. Goes on to say it bent wrong. Ryak described the figure as thin and upright, roughly 7 feet tall, partially obscured by trees. It would lower its head like it was grazing, but the legs didn't angle right. The knees bent too straight. And when it flicked his head up, it did it too fast, like it was copying what it thought a deer does. He claims the figure swayed slightly before repositioning itself behind another tree. It mirrored me, Ryak added. When I crouched to grab my pack, it dipped down. It says, when I crouched to grab my pack, it dipped down too. When I shifted left, it shifted. That's when I knew it wasn't hiding, it was observing me. Ryak packed up quickly and left the area, cutting his hunt short.
He probably panicked too, to be fair.
I'm sure he did, Monica. Blood gone by morning. Yes. The following morning, accompanied by fellow hunter and longtime friend Mark Delaney, Ryak returned to retrieve gear he had abandoned. The carcass was still there, Delaney confirmed, but the snow where Jonas bled, it was clean, no droplets, no discoloration, and it hadn't snowed overnight. Temperatures had remained below freezing, according to data from the National Weather Service station in Marquette. No measurable snowfall was recorded between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. There should have been something, Delaney said. Even if animals licked it up, you'd see disturbance. There was nothing, just smooth snow. Lieutenant Aaron Kessler of the Michigan State Police Gladstone Post confirmed that Ryak filed an informational report. There's no evidence of any criminal activity whatsoever. No tracks are consistent with a large biped were documented. Wildlife activity can sometimes be misidentified under stress stress conditions. When asked about the missing blood, Kessler responded cautiously. Scavengers, freezing conditions, melt and refreeze cycles, there are the natural explanations. We encourage hunters to remain aware of their surroundings and avoid speculations. And here's just a couple of theories here. They got this scientist, Miss Morrow, Dr. Morrow, a folklorist affiliated with Northern Michigan University, says regional legends may shape how such encounters are interpreted. In Algonquin folklore, there are references to entities that imitate animals or human behavior. Modern retellings sometimes label them as skinwalkers through the term originated by the Navajo tradition, and it's frequently misapplied. And others say something less supernatural really quickly here. Cryptozoology researcher Dan Burkright, who has investigated reports across the Upper Peninsula for over a decade, suggests the possibility of what he calls a mimic predator. Nature has examples of mimicry or anglerfish. Certain insects, he states, if there were an undiscovered apex species capable of observing and replicating prey movement, it would have a tremendous hunting advantage. Then he pauses and says, the blood disappearance is what unsettles me. That implies an intent, either consumption or collection. Moving on, I'm going to skip through some of this. Online forums have already dubbed the entity as biological intelligence, a life form that observes human behavior for purposes unknown. Karen Holt of Michigan Department of Natural Resources dismissed such theories, but acknowledged that the Upper Peninsula's vast sparsity, populated terrain, leaves room for mystery, and says there's thousands of square miles which are unaccounted for. Who knows what roams the wilderness in the Upper Peninsula? I don't know.
You know, I'm not on board with this story. I am not on board with it. Why would their particular blood spots be gone, but yet there's a full deer carcass?
Right.
I was thinking the same thing. Excuse me. With the dead carcasses there.
Yeah.
You certainly would think there would be blood spatter from the carcass.
Yeah. And you know, unless this guy is taking his hand and slinging it, you know, slinging off the blood or whatever.
Maybe he slung the
he could have been stepping on it the whole time.
Maybe, yeah.
You know, and he's not looking down as he's trying to get out of there. I mean, yeah, you may have dripped some blood. That's great, but you could have stomped on that in the snow easily. So I
think so. I don't think it's supernatural. When I was reading through that, I mean,
if he had seen something, I think it's misidentification. I mean, sometimes your imagination will run away with you, especially when you're put in a high stress situation. Things can scare you that normally wouldn't. If it was a deer or whatever, and it just kind of looked a little different, you know, just because of the, I don't know, the shade, the shadows or whatever, you know, his mind could have run away with him there for a little while, and he could have thought it was just something different. I'm just not on board with this story. I think this one was a little far-fetched.
I think so, and I think your mind can play tricks on you.
Yes.
Right? You could say things that maybe you believe happened that didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have even gone to the police with that report myself or reported it personally.
No.
That to me, it was nothing. I cut my hand, I bleed, my blood's gone. Was it really blood? Is it mixed in with the dead carcass? You know?
Right. I mean, he was
Monica?
standing over it when he cut himself. Why wouldn't it be in the same vicinity as the carcass?
Absolutely. That's like, it would be going straight down. And I said, unless he took his hand and kind of slung it,
right?
You know, it would be, gravity says it'll go straight down. So he probably ended up more on his pant leg and his boot than he did anything.
Probably. And I mean, I'm sure he might have seen a deer that was acting weird.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't make it supernatural. It was a weird deer.
Yeah.
I'm going to mark this down as this happened. I think whatever happened, happened. I don't think that you can equate this to anything. I mean, it's bizarre, I guess, but we're not going to equate this to paranormal cryptids. I think it's just
I don't think it's anything
man's.
supernatural. Yeah.
No, I don't. I think the man's imagination run amok.
I think so.
And really, in description of even whatever was watching him, probably actually was a deer.
Yeah.
I think it was. And you know how the forest plays tricks on your mind. I mean, if you don't see a full, depending on the lighting, you know, the elevation of the sun. I mean, the angles of a deer can look totally
So
look obscure.
it could have been a deer with wasting deer disease as well, because they
Okay.
have really
Emaciated.
neurological issues and they act super squirrely.
Yeah. Yep. That is absolutely 100% true. And it's just like in Missouri, we have, you know, when you're going out and getting your deer license for the year and everything, they give you all the information for the same exact thing that Monica just talked
I
about.
mean, you don't want to eat.
You have to know the signs because you can't eat those.
No, you don't
It's
want
kind
that.
of like
fry
mad
on your-
cow disease.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the same thing.
I was going to bring up something about the diseases that deer get, and then of course, Amy, the first lady in the chat room. Arr. What's the weird prion disease deer are getting? Chronic wasting sickness.
Wasting disease.
Yeah.
The wasting disease. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's why you don't want to eat it, because the prions will transfer to humans
Yes.
and it will kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. So we can dismiss that, I think, as yes, something happened, but you know, not the way it was made out to be by all these other little incidental reports. That's why I kind of was reading them, like, you know what, I'm not going to waste any more time with that because I was kind of like,
I'll be right back.
nothing
I gotta let
creepy.
my cat out. He's screaming.
Monica, let your cat out. Let your cat out. Thanks everybody for coming on in. Appreciate y'all. Thanks to Coley. The super cat is open for your awesome super cat. That's great. Hit that like button. Subscribe to BMR, The Blondes and the Booze, Monica Rollins. SNX Radio. Yes, check her out. Awesome show. Sir Brian Bowden's in the house. Subscribe to him as well. Thank you, Sir Brian, for that as well. Thanks everybody for coming on in.
Yeah.
So I'm going to roll on. I know Monica's listening in the background. And this, I think, might be a little longer than usual, I think. But I really think this is cool, personally. And we're going to get on with this. So for Bizarre News number 3, Frozen in Time, the doomed Franklin expedition and the mummified face of John Torrington. Arctic Circle. Now, the Bizarre News, everybody, typically is current events within the last year. I was trying to find some different things, so I'm going back with the next 2, I believe it is. We're going way back. It's not current, but this is something that happened, and I looked up and found these reports. And this takes place in the Arctic Circle, May of 1845, and it was rediscovered in 1984. It began as one of the most ambitious exploration missions in British naval history. On May 19th of 1845, under the command of Sir John Franklin, 2 ships, the HMS Erebus and the HMS Terror, wow, what a name, departed England in search of the elusive Northwest Passage. There were 129 officers and crew aboard. None would return alive. For nearly 140 years, the fate of the expedition lingered as one of history's most chilling maritime mysteries. Whispered stories of starvation, madness, and ultimately cannibalism echoing across the ice. But in 1984, the frozen silence broke. A face beneath the ice. In August of 1984, anthropologist Owen Beatty led a team to Beechey Island in the Canadian Arctic. They were searching for clues, and what they uncovered was something far more unsettling. 3 graves, perfectly preserved beneath the permafrost. When researchers carefully exhumed one coffin, they found the remarkably intact body of a 20-year-old stoker, which is a deckhand name for their work, I guess. John Torrington. Beatty later described the moment. His eyes were open. He looked as though they had been buried the day before. Torrington's skin was pale and waxen, his eyelashes still visible, his clothing intact. Even the features of his face, frozen in an almost peaceful expression, were preserved by the Arctic cold. The date on his gravestone read, died January 1st, 1846, age 20. Torrington was among the first 3 sailors to die after the ships became icebound in the Arctic Circle during the winter of 1845 and 1846. The others buried beside him were William Brain, John Hartnell. For decades, historians believed disease, possibly tuberculosis or pneumonia, had taken them. But modern testing told a darker story. Hair and tissue samples revealed extremely high levels of lead. Beatty concluded the lead levels were some of the highest ever recorded in human remains. It could have impaired judgment, weakened the men, and contributed to the catastrophe. The likely source, poorly soldiered food tins or the ship's water desalination systems. Impaired minds trapped in ice, endless darkness. By 1847, Sir John Franklin himself was dead. The remaining crew abandoned the ships in April 1848 and attempted a desperate overland march south of the Black River, and none of them men survived. In the 1850s, Inuit testimony collected by search parties told of skeletal and white men dragging boats across ice of bodies found along the shoreline. And then the most disturbing detail, cut marks on bones, evidence of cannibalism. Modern forensic analysts confirmed some crew members had butchered their fallen comrades in a final hopeless attempt to survive. Historian Margaret Atwood once reflected on the expedition, stating, the Franklin story lingers because it is not just about exploration, it is about the thin line between civilization and desperation. Today, photographs of John Torrington's face circulate widely. His preserved features staring through time, lips slightly parted, eyes hauntingly open. He does not look like a skeleton. He looks like he's asleep. And that may be what unsettles people the most. Unlike bleached bones and scattered across tundra, Torrington appears almost alive, a 20-year-old sailor forever trapped beneath the Arctic ice. Beechey Island remains one of the most isolated graveyards on Earth. A few other things. Lastly, the wrecks of HMS Erebus and HMS Terror were not located until the 21st century, found in 2014 and 2016, respectively, in the Canadian Arctic waters. Yet, with modern discoveries, questions linger. How quickly did the conditions deteriorate? How much did lead poisoning affect the decisions? And truly, what did happen those final days of starvation? And in conclusion, perhaps the most haunting question of all, what did they see in the endless... excuse me, I screwed that up. And in conclusion, what did they see in the endless Arctic dark? Not that bizarre, I don't think, but I thought I saw that. Now, you guys, I was just kind of fascinated by it, so I decided to share that tale.
You should read the book, The Terror.
Yeah.
Because it it talks about the expedition. I mean, it's fiction because nobody survived to tell a story. So it's an imagination of what could have happened, and it's got kind of a supernaturally twist to it. And they did a TV show on AMC called The Terror. And it's about, I mean, it follows the book, but the book follows the real expedition with some scary twists.
Right. Right. And I just looked at the picture that they're discussing, and yes, it's out there. It's gruesome. I mean, we can't show it on here. It's gruesome. It's not as if he just went to sleep, everyone. That's not what he looks like. He looks like he has,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, he has been gone for a while. It's just
definitely had frostbite when he passed away.
Yes. It just the cold, frigid waters probably, or the weather just kept him more intact and not had the time to decay like other things would have.
Right.
Yeah.
He's pretty well preserved.
For what happened.
Yeah.
For what happened. But it doesn't look like he's sleeping, y'all. I'm just telling you. It's no.
You know what's shocking is his eyes are open.
Yes.
You know, and his eyes actually don't look like even mummified corpses that I've seen. They still rot, for lack of it. I mean, they rot. His don't appear to have rotted. I mean, he's got the kind of loosely opened eye that you see in cadavers. You know, if you've ever seen a dead body, your eyes don't close and stay closed.
No. Well, it reminds me a lot of like the stage. Yeah, like the bodies on Mount Everest that they have just left there. That's what it reminds me of right there. The frigid weather it has just kept them in a different condition.
They took care of his body though before he died. They didn't just toss him in a box and toss him in the ground. Like he's fully dressed out for funeral services.
Yeah.
They respected his body when they put him in the ground.
Yeah. And I don't know what the rest of his body entails, because it only gives you just a blip of maybe his chest and up. But with the cannibalism, I mean, I can see that
these men ate each other. You think they resorted to that?
Yeah, because they were locked in ice. They're not going anywhere.
I'm looking at all three of the bodies, and I have to say that Mr. Torrington was the best.
The best of
the best to be spared.
The preserved.
Yeah,
the best preserved. But I mean, there are, if you watch documentaries, like I said, on Mount Everest, you're going to see almost the same type of thing of them up there, except they have different, they are exposed to the sun and so you're going to have different types of decay. I'm going to say that decay that will happen, but pretty much they're still in everything that they had on the moment they dropped, so they're just
the full body shot.
Did you?
Yeah. His hands are like to be fair, he kind of looks like a lady in the shot. Like just the way the folds of his clothes are, and he's very slight young man.
Yeah, and just imagine, he died of starvation, so he's going to be super skinny.
Yeah.
He's just going to be so frail that would he have an appearance of a female? Maybe.
Yeah, he kind of does. But preservation wise, like his clothes are amazingly intact. But again, we're talking the Arctic weather. We'll do that.
We'll do that. Yeah.
Thank you to Sir Brian. And Sir Brian, I apologize for not turning on my body camera when I made my mysterious disappearance. Thanks for that super chat. And he says, to get to the point of cannibalism means you're not in a good place. And I would.
Thank you for that.
I would definitely agree with that. Thanks for the super cat.
Super cat.
Super cat.
Super
Yeah.
cat. Super cat.
We need to
Yeah.
make a little logo for Super Cat.
Yeah,
You need to
I
make
know.
a little flying cat that runs across the screen.
Or something.
Yeah,
we need a
you know, we
cartoon
gotta-
for that for
yeah.
Super Cat.
Like
Like
Super
a
Cat.
shooting star.
Oh, that's
but
a great idea. I gotta do that. I gotta implement that somehow. Yes. I'm very inept with creating things, but I got friends, you know.
Yeah.
That's right. You can just have a cat with a cape and running through and collecting dollar bills. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'd like
Yeah,
to do? I
Bigfoot
don't know how
Things
to.
has gotta be able to whip something up for you.
Yeah, I was thinking about it'd be cool because I know there's certain programs
Mm-hmm.
that when somebody like gives a super chat where
Mm.
we don't have to do anything because the programming will automatically post it with a
It runs it.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be so awesome. I gotta look into that. Because we can't see everything.
No.
ATM Drake, how you doing, brother? Thanks to everybody for coming on in. If I miss you, I love you. I don't really read the chat too often. Not to mention I can't see it very well. Or can I? Don't know.
I don't know.
So, Monica, this was a fiction book you're saying then, or you think this happened? This is something.
Well, no, I mean it's the writer's imagining of what happened. Nobody survived to tell the story. So
Correct.
it's his imagining of what could have
So
happened.
it was just okay, got you on that.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cool to share, you guys. I thought it was something
Yeah,
different
that
for
is
the
cool.
show. You know,
I mean, they did find him. It is a real body.
Yeah.
It is a real body.
Yeah, and I did see the pictures. They were too. I was not going to show them. They were pretty.
Yeah, you can't show those.
They're,
Right.
they're gruesome.
All
you
three
guys.
of them are on the internet. You can find all
Yeah,
three.
you guys check them
Yeah.
out. Check out those pictures of those 3 departed souls from, I guess, what was the 1800s? I guess it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it something happened. They found the remnants of a boat, and they found them, and I mean, they could only assume what had happened.
Yes.
Which would be it'd be natural occurrences, I guess.
You would think.
Yeah.
I didn't think there was anything supernatural to it. I thought it was cool. Kind of tragedy, really.
Yeah. But it is interesting how well preserved the clothing and what he does look like for how many years that he was there.
Absolutely. So I thought that was cool. We're going to move on because I like this one. Of course, this takes place in Lake Erie.
Woo-hoo.
Of course. Woo.
Of course, I like to try
You
to.
got eerie goings on in Lake Erie.
There are
You do.
going on in Lake Erie. Very nice, Monica. Very nice indeed. Yes.
I do it.
Everybody. Thanks to everybody for coming in. The Storm Hag of Lake Erie.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the Storm Hag of Lake Erie, everybody. A maritime horror revisited from the late 19th century. And again, I'm going back in time a little bit, kind of mix things up. And here is the special historical report, everybody. Cleveland, Ohio, in the closing years of the 19th century, when iron hull freighters plied, I guess that's what it says, plied the inland seas, and yes, the Great Lakes are inland seas, and kerosene lanterns still swung from wheelhouses. Sailors along Lake Erie spoke in lowered voices of something older than commerce and crueler than the weather. They called it the Storm Hag. Described as a green-skinned sea witch with yellow lantern bright eyes and teeth like broken crockery.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Crockery, you say?
Broken crockery indeed. The Storm Hag was said to rise from the black water during gales, rake her poisoned fingernails along the hulls, and drag stunned men into the depths.
Okay.
Though dismissed by shipping magnates as dockside superstition, several incidents recorded between 1889 and 1907 suggest the legend took root in tragedy. Going on, the sinking of the Mercy Belle in 1892. On October 17th, 1892, the wooden schooner Mercy Bell departed Toledo bound for Buffalo with a cargo of limestone. Captain Horace Bellamy, age 41, was regarded as steady and sober, not prone to fancies. According to the recovered portion of his sea log, now preserved at the Western Reserve Historical Society, the crew encountered a sudden squall near Kelly Island. I've been to Kelly Island, I have. Winds shifted unnatural as if far beneath us, water black as ink. Mr. Turner swears he saw a woman's face in the trough beneath the swells. Greenish hue. I reprimanded him, he says. Yeah, I too, though, he goes on to say later, perceived a form. And that was from the log of Captain H. Bellamy, October 17th, 1892. So that was from a log. I'll read that again. Turner swears he saw a woman's face in the trough between the swells, greenish hue. Interesting. The Mercy Bell never reached Buffalo. Wreckage washed ashore days later. Of the 9 men aboard, only one body was recovered, that of deckhand Silas Morton. Coroner Elias Wentworth recorded an unusual observation in his report. The deceased bore parallel lacerations upon the forearms and neck as if by long fingernails. Edges inflamed and darkened. No evidence of shark or lamprey. Again, Lake Erie, shark, but then again, back in the time, these were seas. But I don't think, in my studies of the Great Lakes, never anything reported on a shark. Lamprey, yes. Lamprey were common in the lake. Oh, well, I'm right. Lamprey were common in the lake. Sharks and witches were not. Yeah, sure? Of course they threw that in there. The Yellow Eyes account of 1898, 6 years later, engineer Thomas Rourke of the steamer Adelaide Grace testified in a sworn statement filed in Erie after a violent August gale. Storm passed quicker than it came. We were thankful, too thankful. That's when she comes. The old men say, after when your back's turned to the dark. Rourke claimed he heard scratching along the hull like nails on coffin wood. When he leaned over the rail with a lantern, he saw what he described as a woman's head, hair plastered to her skull, skin the color of pond scum. These writers, they really, when they put these reports, they go all out. Yeah. They go all out. I mean, I can envision this in my mind. Anyway, eyes yellow, not reflecting light, but giving it. Moments later, able seaman Frederick Hale vanished from the stern deck. No splash was heard. Captain Edwin Harrow's entry that night was terse. And I guess here's an entry. Hale presumed washed overboard, though seas had stilled. The lake gave no body back. By 1903, Great Lakes folklorist Professor Milton Devereaux of Case School of Applied Science, now part of Case Western Reserve University, compiled more than a dozen references to a hag or witch of this storm in sailors' oral accounts. Devereaux writes, she is not blamed for the storm's arrival, but for its cunning retreat. The creature waits until relief softens vigilance. Then she feeds. Descriptions were remarkably consistent. Green or gray flesh, needle-like teeth, elongated nails, said to leave inflamed wounds. Several sailors insisted the marks burned as if poison. Modern maritime historians suggest exhaustion, hypothermia, hallucinations, and rogue waves account for the vanishings. Yet records show that between 1885 and 1905, more than 230 vessels were reported lost on Lake Erie, many in sudden squalls. Perhaps the most chilling account came from commercial diver Agnes McRae, contracted in 1907 to inspect work near Pele Island. And good old BMR is also familiar with Pele Island. In a letter to his wife dated September 3, 1907, McCrae wrote, "There are shapes below that do not belong to timber or fish. I felt a hand upon my boat, not weed, a grip. I stuck with my knife and steered a silt. In that murk, 2 yellow lights watched me." These people really did speak kind of differently back then, didn't they? McCrae refused further dives. He reportedly took work inland and never returned to the lakes. And I'm not going to talk about the meteorologists. That's a bunch of BS there. I don't want to go through. So let me ask you guys, what do you think? Oh, here's something really quickly. In 1895, newspaper clippings from the Cleveland Leader quoted an unarmed lighthouse keeper near Kelly's Island. "I have seen her outlined against lightning. Mark me, the lake keeps what she drags in. I believe that the legend endures. Maybe not legend, but I do believe that something back from the 1800s through the 1900s did inhabit Lake Erie." And there's a few more other things that I'm going to skip on. I think that's enough. Hey, I don't know, you guys. First thing that comes to my mind, kind of like a tale drawn up from the sea, not mermaids, but what's the other one? Sirens kind of thing. Kind of a similar tale.
It sounds like a mermaid to me. That's what it sounds like to me.
Okay.
People have these delusions that mermaids are these super pretty things that come out and all this stuff and lure the sailors in. No, they are absolutely not a beautiful creature. And what is being described in the story is actually what they're supposed to look like.
Mm-hmm.
With the needle teeth and the pale green skin and they're not beautiful things. I mean, that's what I'm leaning towards, that it's mermaids. And if you read stories on the Great Lakes, you will hear lots of stories about mermaids being in those lakes. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's what it was.
Right.
But just on a side note, guess who reached 6.6 thousand subscribers?
All right.
Oh, I did.
Yes,
Right.
I just saw that. I went, yay!
Oh, well, thank you, everybody.
That's
That's
awesome.
pretty cool. 6.6K. Of course, I'll wake up tomorrow. It'll be 6.598.
Yeah, 599.
Yeah, 99. Well, for all the new people, thank you so much. That's pretty awesome.
Just need a couple more to seal the deal.
I need a few more to seal the deal, so it stays at 6.6. Thank you. Thanks, Brandi. That's pretty cool.
Great.
Thanks, everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, from the stories that I've heard, really, honestly, it does sound like mermaids. And
yeah, I did mention sirens earlier, but now recapping something that I think Monica, you and I did a mermaid thing.
Mm-hmm.
They look pretty and gorgeous in the beginning, but then they have what they were describing, like you were saying.
Well,
Brandi,
they can glamour, right?
They have that glamour.
Yes.
Right. And the female mermaids still appear female, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the male mermaids look nothing human. They don't look human at all. Like they look like anglerfish without the little light.
Right. You're right, because of the teeth in the mouth and the
and they've got webbed hands that have wicked claws, like the creature from the Black Lagoon. Their hands remind me of that.
Right.
Oh,
so that's interesting. Water spirits are interesting too, because Amy brought up and I was thinking the same thing. In Cornish folklore, there's Jenny Greenteeth, and she waits in the water and she snatches you and brings you down. And she's described as having, hair that sticks to her face. She lurks just under the water watching. She's got that green skin and the long nails. And it reminds me of Jenny Greenteeth, which is a type of water fae. Yeah.
I didn't even think about that one. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I don't think this is witchcraft per se.
No.
I don't think it's any of that type of thing. I think we're dealing more with something like that. like good old Jenny on the block.
Yeah.
That's who we're dealing with, Jenny on the block.
Well, girls, I don't know if you were both on with me. I know one or both were, because I think we did another Great Lakes mermaid story. Did we not? Were you guys with me?
I don't
Yeah.
remember.
I do. I remember.
It might have been me and Brandi. Yeah. It might have been. But yeah, and you always hear about the mermaids of the high seas, but you guys, for people that don't know, Lake Michigan, as it says, they were inland seas, and I think that the mermaid is not exempt from the Great Lakes.
Why not? Yeah.
I don't think it is, right?
There could be freshwater mermaids just like there's saltwater mermaids. There's freshwater fish and saltwater.
Yeah,
Why
right.
not?
Now, I do the thing about this story that the only thing I didn't like was mentioning of sharks. I don't believe, and I look up the Great Lakes quite often. I don't. Now, there was back in the 80s, there was a shark in the Detroit River, but he got caught through the St. Lawrence River, which leads right to the ocean.
Right.
I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to cut you off, Brandi. Not many sharks spotted in the Great Lakes.
No, I mean there are sharks spotted in the Mississippi, but that has a connection right to the ocean. So, can they adapt to it? Sure. Over time, sure they can. And as they, spawn or breed or whatever they do, they get used to the water that they're in. So it could be like a 50-50, like 50% fresh, 50% salt. And so they can get up in the Mississippi quite a ways. I don't think that I've heard of anything else about like any sharks staying in the Great Lakes or anything like that. I don't remember any stories like that. Even when I grew up there, I don't remember any stories about sharks. So I wouldn't think it'd be that.
Yeah, like I said, when the river came down that I know about, Donnie Cho says stuff. What did Donnie Cho have to say? I love when thanks Donnie for the super cat. I prefer the saltier mermaids over of course, I know where this is going. I prefer the saltier mermaids over the freshwater ones myself, but that's just me. I prefer the saltier mermaid. Okay, he says it twice.
So he just, he likes salty mermaids.
He likes a salty mermaid.
Likes them salty.
Probably salty women as well.
Salty women. Oh, Donnie Cho.
He likes them spicy.
He likes them spicy. He does. Donnie Cho. Oh, something else came through. T-Bone, welcome back, T-Bone. I haven't seen you.
Welcome back.
5 new Pirates Armies.
Thank you, T-Bone.
T-Bone. T-Bone's awesome. Love T-Bone. T-Bone is one of the few people that has a BMR shirt.
Oh.
Well, I took down my thing anyway. I'm redoing all that. Thank you, T-Bone. You're awesome. Appreciate you. While I'm at it, since we're doing this, thanks to Coley and thanks to Sir Brian. Check out Coley and Sir Brian on their channels, please. They're awesome. Okay, so again, I love the Great Lakes stories. I try to find those, as you guys know, things from Michigan, because quite frankly, I live here, and why not? Hello, Rags. Good to see you. I still can't get used to a paranormal discussion with Mickey G, and that is Mickey.
It's Mickey.
And I think Mickey started her own little channel as well. So go check out.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah.
I think she did. I don't know if it's up and running. She had made mention to it before, but thanks to everybody for coming on it. If you're new, thank you. 6.6 thousand subs I just achieved today. Thanks to all of you. Yay. That's what it says now, anyways. Thanks for that news, Brandi.
You're welcome.
We're going to move on. Okay. And this is the final news report of the evening. And I always try to close it out with, of course, Dogman.
Yeah.
Everyone loves their Dogman.
Right.
And this is a bizarre news report, of course. And Mr. Castro has been a member. Mr. Castro has been a member for 6 months. All right.
All right.
Castro. Mr. Castro. Yes. Because of me, they call him Mr. Castro at work, and everybody, that's not his real name. Yes.
No.
Here we go. Thanks, Josh. All right, here we go. Bizarre news report out of Ohio. Hunters claim they were stalked by upright wolf-like creature in Wayne National Forest. Now, I don't know much about Wayne National Forest in Ohio. What began as a routine late season deer hunt in southeastern Ohio has left four experienced outdoorsmen shaken, sleepless, and questioning everything they thought they knew about the woods. The incident reportedly occurred in early November of 2025. So, okay, this is a more recent one, obviously, inside a remote stretch of Wayne National Forest near the Marietta unit. The men, identified as Daniel Mercer, 42 of Zanesville, Aaron Klein, 38 of Newark, Thomas Bellamy, 51 of Lancaster, and Jacob Hensley, 36 of Chillicothe or Chillicothe. Is that what they say? Chillicothe? I don't know. Say they were stalked for nearly 6 hours by what they describe as a bipedal wolf. It wasn't a bear. It wasn't a coyote. And it sure wasn't a man, Mercer told reporters, hands visibly trembling. It stood up. I watched it stand up behind a stand of beech trees. It had shoulders like a linebacker. It wanted us to know it was there. According to the group, the encounter began shortly after 3:40 p.m. Bellamy had taken a short trail off their main position when he heard what he thought were heavy footsteps paralleling him. Not four-legged movement, Bellamy said. Two, deliberate. Crunch, pause, crunch, like it was matching my pace. When he radioed back to the others, the men regrouped. That's when they saw it. Klein described the creature as standing between 7 and 8 feet tall, covered in dark, matted fur, with elongated forearms and what he called a wolf's head, but wrong, somehow longer. A longer snout, most unusual for a wolf or a dog, and the ears were pinned back and high. It stepped out just enough for us to see it. Then it leaned against a tree, Klein said, like it was watching or studying or just taking on what we were doing. Hensley claimed he raised his rifle, but he hesitated. It didn't act like an animal. Animals bolt. This thing didn't run. It shifted its weight from one leg to the other like a person. The men report that at dusk, the men reported at the men reported as dusk approached, the creatures circled them, never charging, never retreating fully. They heard branches snap at consistent intervals, always keeping distance, but never losing proximity. We realized we weren't hunting anymore, Mercer said. We were being hunted. At first, there's no tracks. Then, of course, there was too many. When they finally reached their trucks shortly after 9 p.m., the men claimed they found tracks in a muddy access road roughly 200 yards from the vehicles. Bellamy described them as canine in shape, but too large, almost 9 inches long and spaced far apart like a running stride. Yet oddly, they say the tracks began abruptly and ended just as subtly near a patch of hard gravel. The Ohio Department of Natural Resources, ODNR, responded to inquiries but stated there were no confirmed reports of large predators beyond known black hair movement. Wait a minute. What does this say here? Stated there were no confirmed reports of large predators beyond known black bear movement patterns. In a written statement by the ODNR, a spokesperson said, there's no verified evidence of any unknown or unidentified wildlife species within Wayne National Forest. A ranger now speaks off of the record. Thank you to T-Bone, 20-month member, and Mickey G, 13-month pirates. To the pirates out there. Thank you so much. Love you guys. However, a retired park ranger who served more than 2 decades in Wayne National Forest contacted local media after the story broke. The ranger who requested anonymity cited former colleagues and professional relationships, said the hunter's account was consistent with incidents he quietly documented during his career. We just talked about this. I'd love to get a park ranger on the show because they know everything, right? You hear stories. Most are nonsense, the ranger said, but not all of them. There were nights patrol officers refused certain sectors after dark. Radios cutting out, reports of something pacing campsites. He described one 2009 incident involving a family who reported a tall figure standing upright at the tree line near their RV. They thought it was a prankster until it stepped into moonlight. They packed up and left there before sunrise. When asked directly whether he believed the hunters encountered something real, he paused. He goes on, he says, you guys, in 23 years, I saw tracks I couldn't log properly. I heard howls that weren't coyote or wolf. And once I saw something across a fire road on 2 legs. I never wrote that part down. The sighting has reignited interest in Ohio folklore surrounding upright canine creatures, sometimes referred to by local lore as the dog man, or beast of the hills, the beast of Bray Road, etc. While most reports are dismissed as misidentifications or even hoaxes, researchers note a pattern of accounts clustered around dense forest corridors in southern Ohio. And we all know that. We've all heard many out of Ohio, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right.
And finally, Dr. Melissa Hero, a wildlife behavior specialist in Columbus, urges caution. High stress environments. These guys always say, I'm so bored of saying this already. They all repeat themselves, it seems. High stress environments and low light can distort perception. A black bear standing briefly can appear humanoid. I ain't going. Yeah, okay.
Like good. Hunters don't know what black bears.
Yeah, exactly. And there is a lot more. Really quickly, let me see something relevant to this. I should cut some of this out when I do these. Anyway, this guy says, it never attacked us, Bellamy said. That's the worst part of it. It didn't need to. It just wanted us to know that he could have taken us. And I do like that last statement. The worst part is he did not need to attack. He wanted us to know it could have. And you guys have heard me time and again, and the people that watch the shows, even you guys have said this. With other things, LBL, let's quit talking about that. We know about that. It seems like these creatures just want to scare the hell out of us. And you don't hear, I know they've killed unalived many people, but to me, man, they just like to scare the hell out of us. And they have no intention of hiding from us, right? That's my statement there. But as far as this rollout goes, I think I will believe this one.
To me, it just sounds like normal, typical behavior from what we hear.
Yeah.
It's super territorial.
Yeah.
They will attack if necessary, but most generally they appear aggressive, but they're not going to attack because you're not close enough.
Right.
You're not invading their space yet, but you're getting close. Yeah.
I agree. I mean, it's a standard thing we've all heard of. A little different. They're all a little different. Monica,
they're similar. Yeah, but I don't know. I definitely agree with Brandi that this just sounds like typical dogman behavior, like out in the woods. Not necessarily, when they come up to homes, because when they come up to homes, then they really terrorize.
Right? There is an agenda.
There is an agenda there. They're looking to instill fear in the occupants of the house. Like they'll walk around and breathe and tap on the windows and scratch on the windows and the side of the house. I mean, this was just typical open country, we'll call it.
Country. Yeah.
Yeah. encounters, that people survive to tell the encounter
They
of.
survive to tell the encounter.
I don't want to paint it like if you're unfortunate enough to run across one of these things that it's not going to attack you, because that's absolutely not necessarily the case. As with any wild animal, everybody wants to pet the bison. Don't pet the bison.
Just because they appear docile doesn't mean they are.
If not friend, why friend shaped?
Yes, right, Monica.
If not friend, why puppy shaped?
Yes, right.
Yes.
I got something I want to say too, but really quickly, thanks to Fidesz for the super cat. Hey, Dick Richards, I see you out there, but every time I say hi, Dick, it doesn't let me. I guess it's you know how that goes.
Mr.
Bad word,
Richard.
I guess. They think they keep rejecting hi, Dick. Dick Richards in the house. Thank you for that. So yeah, you guys are both right. I'm just gonna kind of regurgitate, as Monica was stating, the accounts that we come across about dogman on your property and by your house. Yeah, scratching, messing up your properties, killing your chickens, sometimes your other livestock and animals, right? And that is like sinister. Like their intention is no good.
Right.
And then at the same time, when we hear these encounters just like this, right? Sitting there, minding their own thing, but they don't care. They'll show themselves and they'll just let you know I'm here. Stay away from me.
What's up? Get out.
Get the hell out.
Yeah. Brian said it best right here in this. Yeah, he said it best right here, because they are the literal buttheads of the cryptid community.
They are indeed, Sir Brian, for the record. They are. They really are. It is something that I'd like to now, Monica, I know you're done with it. I'd still like to see one, not up and close and personal, not running down the side of my vehicle.
No, I get it.
I'd like to see one though. Brandi, would you like to see a dog man, honestly?
I do. I really would, but I wouldn't want to see one up close. It would have to be from a distance. I could not no. Absolutely not. I don't have any good feelings about them. So I mean, every time that I go to the LBL and all that kind of stuff, I'm always looking over my shoulder. I don't know. It's got this fear in me that I don't want to run into that. I mean, I want to see it from a distance, but I'd rather take my chances with Bigfoot. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, we've had this discussion before, and we both had up close and personal encounters with these things. And Monica, hey, you have that dog man encounter, and you're saying it scared the living out of you.
Yeah,
it did. There's very few times in my life that I've been that terrified. Terrified. Like where I couldn't talk if I wanted to. You ever been so scared you can't talk? Like,
oh yeah,
or you can't even think. You're frozen.
Yeah. I mean that was that, and the other time was when I was like 7-ish, maybe 8, when some dude tried to kidnap me, and I realized what was going on, and I couldn't talk, I couldn't scream. All I could do was like, as I'm backing away.
Did you tell me that before? Some dude almost tried to kidnap you?
Long time ago. I said it on some show.
It might have been this one.
Might have been. But yeah,
I remember you saying.
I've been that scared.
Yeah, no,
I've been startled. I mean, I was scared when something ran blind at me down a mountain in Oklahoma. I had pulled my gun. I was ready to shoot when it cleared the brush line. I never cleared the brush line, but I was scared then, but I wasn't as scared as I was when I saw the dog man.
Yeah, Monica's got a compelling dogman account. We'll revisit that down the road, I think, because a lot of people haven't heard that. Well, a lot of people have as well, because Monica is, of course, of Monster Quest fame. I will tell you the most horrifying thing, really quickly, that you mentioned about being kidnapped. We had the the Michigan child murders, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back when I was a little boy, 8, 9, right age, because this guy was kidnapping and murdering boys and girls.
Those are the ones that are tied to the North Fox Island, right?
Yep. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Sorry. You're certainly a ma'am.
Oh,
Um, anyways, foot and mouth. But anyway, so we knew the description. This guy drove a Ford pickup truck with on the cap was a bunch of birds on all sorts of like hunting birds, ducks, geese, and he also drove a smaller BMW or VFW, a love bug, I guess, back in the day. And I was with my friend Nikki Lehman, and we're on the corner of my house. Now, I lived in Wayne County during this time, but the Michigan child murders was in Oakland County.
Mm-hmm.
But frankly, half hour you're in Oakland County where I live, right?
Right.
So, and I remember seeing an image of this man, that they had the police synagogue, the police had the rendition on the news. So everybody knew about this. And so me and Nikki Lehman were around the corner, and we're only about a half a block from my dad. My dad was out cutting the grass. And guess what pulls up at the corner where Nikki and I were? It was that pickup truck with the birds, the bird cap. And I look into the window, and the window rolls down, and this creepy guy smiles at me and Nikki, smiles, and his teeth, I remember distinctly, they were the biggest, longest, ugliest teeth, but creepy. And but he was smiling. Then all of a sudden, you guys, his smile turned into a scowl, and he got out of his truck, and he had a long burlap bag. And he starts chasing me and Nikki down the block.
Holy cow.
I'm yelling to my dad, and you guys, this is like broad daylight. It's like noon. I knew this was the guy. And my dad seen him. My dad stops. He starts chasing after this guy. And this guy stops, turns around, gets back in a truck, and he peels out of there. My dad files a police report. The police came, says, yeah, that matches the guy. It was very weird. He only goes in Oakland County, but what I told the police what he looked like, and this truck, the truck was the thing. Oh my God, yeah. This we're not saying it was you guys, a copycat or whatever, but yeah. So that I made a police report. My dad did anyway. And me and Nikki told the police what happened, what we saw, and to this day, that's an unsolved murder.
Mm-hmm.
The murders in Michigan.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm not saying it was 100%, you guys, but I was close to being
Seems
kidnapped.
likely. Yeah.
Seems very likely.
It's scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what happened to me, I got up really early, and a good friend of mine lived across the street. And where we lived, my grandparents lived, I was with them. There was the street kind of did this. And where I lived was right here, and my friend's house was on the corner here, right? And there was a stop sign. And I went to go see if she can come out. She was eating breakfast, so she couldn't come out. And I was just goofing around out front, waiting for her to get done. And I'm swinging, with my arm kind of swinging around the stop sign. Usually my grandfather would be like in the garage working. And I mean, it was literally directly across the street from me, but he wasn't out that morning. And I saw this guy in this car drive by several times. He drove by, then he came back around the block, drove by, then he came back around. He came back around like 3, maybe 4 times. And then he pulled over, going the wrong way down the street, pulled up next to me as I'm on the holding onto the street sign, kind of spinning around. He goes, hey, can you tell me where, whatever street is? And my friend lived near there. And so I knew the way. And I was like, yeah, you just go back down the way you came, and you're going to hit this road, and you go down, you turn right, whatever. I give him directions. And he's like, I'll give you, I forget how much. He told me $1, like 50 cents or some bullshit. Like, I'll give you money if you get in the car and show me where to go. And I'm looking at this guy, and I thought he had, because my grandfather had an old like 1940s car with a kind of sloped back, looked like a Dick Tracy car. And he had a similar car to that. It was larger. It wasn't a Volkswagen. And I looked down and he had like black trash bags on the floor, and he had some creepy stuff in the back seat on the floor. And I, because I'm looking down at him, and I look at him, and he's like, "It's okay, you can get in." He's like, "Go on." He's like, "Yeah." And I realized what was happening. And I was thinking, if he gets out of the car, I'm going to wrap myself around the pole. But he didn't make any attempts to get out of the car. I think he realized I was trying to scream, but I couldn't because I was so scared. And I was like, like, it's like what you see in the movies, like nothing would come out. And I started walking backwards, and I tripped over this low hedge that my friends had around their property.
Yeah.
And I went scrambling backwards, and he just took off.
That's always scary.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I didn't tell anybody until later that night, because he didn't grab me. And I was, previously I had been bit by a neighborhood dog, and my grandfather had the sheriff out there. It was like a big deal. And I was like, I didn't like it. I didn't like the cops grilling me. Because they're like, "Where'd the dog come from? Who was it? What'd they do?" It was, I was a little kid. I was scared.
Right.
When I told my grandmother that night, I said it really casually as I was going to sleep, because she and I would sleep in the same bed. And she was like, next morning, what do I got? Sheriff's officers in my face asking me what the guy looked like. What was he driving?
Oh, yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Monica. Well, we both made it. We're here
Yeah,
to let's talk about it today, right?
That's right.
Brandi, ever been any attempts at yourself being abducted?
No, actually,
Good.
no.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad.
I guess because where I lived when I was younger, I should say where I lived where I was younger, and I lived in Flint, and I lived on a busy road.
Yeah,
I lived on a busy road, so that would be not a good place to try.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and really quickly, and it's not. I know about Flint. I don't really go through Flint unless I'm going up north.
Right.
Flint,
Right.
Especially today.
Yeah, today you just don't. You
kind of go around the outskirts of Flint.
Yes. You go any which way but through it.
Yep. The only thing with what happened to me, and the police said it was kind of odd because this man this was broad daylight where this man attempted to do that. It was like right around 12, you guys, in the summer. And all the other attempts and abductions always took place in the evening or nighttime, and in more of a rural setting, because Oakland County was more rural than Wayne County. Certain sections, of course, right? So that was whatever. We all made it. Monica, you made it. I made it. That's an unsolved murder and mystery. This was a great show, you guys. I think everybody enjoyed it. Really quickly, I'm going to run down the list like I like to do. Thanks to Coley SNX Radio. Go subscribe to her. Great show. Brian Bowden. Go subscribe to Brian Bowden. Third Eye Live. Donnie Show is Donnie Show Says Stuff. T-Bone, welcome back. 5 new pirates. Matey. Cryptid. Crossroads. That's Mr. Castro. A pirate for 6 months. Mickey G. Mickey G. She's off. Yeah, Mickey G's a pirate. She's always been a pirate. Thanks, Mickey, for that. T-Bone, was that T-Bone twice? I don't know. If I missed that, T-Bone. T-Bone, thank you, T-Bone, again. Wow, 10 members from T-Bone tonight. T-Bone, back in action. I love you. Thank you so much. CC. Wow, I missed some of these. Maybe I was reading. Hey, you guys. So thank you so much, guys. Fidesz, of course, thank you. And Brian Bowden again, thank you. Always appreciated, never expected. I love you guys for that. I love everybody. People that watch the replays, the people that don't participate in chat, we all do. Without you guys, shows would not be possible. And I guess I'm still at 6.6 thousand, I guess, Brandi. I don't know, but thanks to everybody for helping me hit that goal tonight. This was a great show. Brandi, I'll be back Tuesday with Bigfoot Society, Jeremy Bryan. I was on his show.
Awesome.
I was just on his podcast. It dropped. He and I did a show about a month ago. It dropped. It's got 10,000 views already.
That's great.
Wow.
Yeah, he's awesome. And he'll be on the show Tuesday.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's cool. And Brandi, Thursday. Well, you've got Wednesday. You've got your paranormal
Yeah,
show
we
and
got
tell.
paranormal show and tell. Because Donnie and Randy will be hosting the Alabama Ghost Sisters. So
Okay.
tune in for that on Wednesday. I will not be available for that show, but they're going to do it. Let's hope they're
that'll be an
okay.
interesting show.
That'll be very interesting. And of course, the Blondes and Booze are on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Central.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
Excellent. And Monica, I'm not going to say anything about Monica has her channel, Our Paranormal World, but Monica does her thing, and I can't wait for your next drop. JoJo left a comment when she saw I did a short. You and I were on it. We were talking about the creepy Mexican basement. I
saw that.
JoJo says, "Oh, we need to tell Monica she needs to start her show back."
I know, I do. And as you know, as I get moving out of this depressive season for me, then I will probably do more shows.
Yeah, well, you and I we're doing the gardening. We're gonna do we're gonna do something.
Do a gardening show.
Yeah. People want to.
I'll tell you what I found in the dirt that I had delivered today.
What?
Snakes.
Oh, at least they weren't spiders.
Well, there were little tiny spiders too, and I expect that, but no, snakes. There were snakes in the dirt. As my friend was shoveling it into my garden beds, he was like, "Whoa, two." And I'm scared now because I think there's probably more hiding in the dirt that got put in the beds that didn't.
Oh no!
Oh, God.
So
well, the best you can do is get some snake away or something and try to drive them out of the bed.
Drive them out.
Yep.
Cats don't stay. They were little ones. They weren't giants. They were,
Yeah, well, a foot.
My cats will take care of them.
There you go.
Well, we've talked about this. Spiders is not our gig.
No.
Snakes are okay.
No.
They don't. Oh, you don't like snakes, Brandi?
I don't want them poking out of the dirt while I'm.
No, that is creepy as hell, Monica. No, not at all. No.
Right.
With that being said, this was a great show. Thanks to everybody. Hit that like button on your way out. Thanks for your awesome support of the shows. Check us out. Subscribe across the board. And we're going to leave with the little ditty that Fidesz put together for me, as always. Have a great night. Have a great rest of your weekend. I am BMR for Brandi, for Monica. We are out.
Bye.
Thanks for watching Bigfoot, Michigan, Rob, and beyond. Join the many. Join the few. Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, the squad is complete. Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern.